Terry and I actually did a performance together at Highways in Santa Monica on Mother's Day, which she arranged. I wrote this piece about what happened. It's called Mother's Day. So, okay, I was not a perfect mother. My daughter figured that out all by herself. When she was 4 years old. She said, "I wish you were a real mommy." And I said, "Honey, what is a real mommy?" She looked up at me and thought for a moment, "Well, you know, they stay home and make brownies." I never did bake brownies, and I never stayed home either. Now, 40 years later, Terry is a performance artist using her life stories for material. So of course, like it or not, I'm in her work. I go to all her stage performances, squirm in my seat when the word mother comes up. Even though she has sworn to me she'll never do Mommy Dearest. This year she decided that it would be nice if I would perform a piece with her for a Mother's Day celebration at a local theater. She got us booked, printed flyers, and then on the night of her birthday told me as a surprise, maybe as a gift, amidst giggles, "I'm going to make a performance artist out of you. I'm going to make you famous." I stared at her. No one at the table saw me smile or heard me say okay. She reminds me that I said, "I guess I have to lose weight." But I never dreamed she would ask me to don a leotard and dance across the stage in tights in front of 100 people. I'd have to lose more than weight for that. I am not a performance artist, I'm a writer, comfortable with putting words on a page and not comfortable in front of an audience. Yet she didn't think twice about setting this up for a Mother's Day performance. She told me that she wanted me to know who she was by introducing me to what she did. I said I didn't need to jump out of a window to know that I wouldn't like to fall. I said, "I know who you are, you're the performer, I'm the prop." I should have said no before the flyers went out. 2 months later and 2 weeks before Mother's Day, Terry arrived at my house for the first rehearsal. She brought a tape recorder and asked me questions about my life, my mother, and my childhood. She got me talking, telling her old stories, while taping all of it. The questions became more personal, more probing. We were deep into my childhood. I needed to stop her. I say, "I don't want to go there anymore. This isn't my show. It's yours. Let's hear from you now. What do you want to do?" I feel myself getting angry. "This is the way I work," she says. "I gather material, then I process it and see what I want to use. It's organic. I want to see what the possibilities are." I ask her, "So what are the possibilities? You tell me." I'm feeling interrogated. She's crossed my boundaries. She asks me what it is I would like to do. Sit in the audience. She laughs. "You have to be on stage." I say, "No, this isn't who I am. This is who you are." "How can I get out of this?" I ask my friends. I feel anxious and I lie awake at night. My stomach is upset. Second rehearsal. Terry asks, "So how did you feel when I asked you to be a performance artist?" I remind her again that she never asked me, that she told me. I say to her, "What if this doesn't work? Like maybe our working together is not one of your better ideas. Maybe you should do the piece alone." She tells me we are booked together as a mother-daughter performance, and that's how she got the theater to agree to it. She tells me she will make it work. I say, "But what if it doesn't work? Do I have the option of getting out of this?" "I'll make it work." I yell, "You're not hearing me." She yells back, "I can't force you to do anything you don't want to do." She doesn't say it's okay, you don't have to do it. She is not going to let me out of this. Now she wants us to rehearse in front of the mirrors in my bedroom. She takes my hand and leaves me there. I can tell she thinks this is so cool because she's giggling again. She asks me to remember a time when I felt fierce. I say, "I never felt fierce." Well, how did you feel when you were leading groups at UCLA Hospital? Confident. Okay, she says, how would you express that confidence with your body movement? And that's when I say, no, I'm not doing movement on stage. You can't ask me to do that. I'll sit in the audience and watch you. She says, Mom, you can't. You have to be in the piece. So I say, okay, let me sit on a stool on the side of the stage and you do all the dancing. And then my daughter gives me the line that reminds me of the brownies I never baked for her. Mom, you're killing my creative process. God forbid I should kill her creative process. She asks me to put on a leotard and pose and show my legs to the audience. I say no, she's gone too far. I say, why didn't you ask me to do that 30 years ago when I had good legs? She tells me that she wants the audience to see what she had to grow up with, that her mother had showgirl legs and that she had horrible thighs. I have heard her berate her body image in her stage performances many times. She uses this as material. I know she thinks something is wrong with her body, with her looks, and finally with herself. I tell her I think it's sad that she feels that way. And now I share some memories with her. Terry, when you were 16 and I was about your age, when we lived in the marina, one day we were putting on swimsuits to go to the pool. And you took my hand and walked me to the full-length mirror on the closet door, just like you did today. And you said, look at that. And I said, what? You said, there's something wrong when your mother has better legs than you do. Terry says she doesn't remember this. And then I relate an incident with my mother when I was 16 and we were walking down the street together. A car pulled up alongside the curb and a bunch of guys rolled down the window and gave out a long, low wolf whistle at her, not at me. I stepped back and became invisible. Your nanny was about 46 then, wore no makeup, plain dresses, nothing provocative, yet it was clear they were looking at her, not at me. And when I started dating, I would walk into the living room after spending an hour on makeup and hair, and my dates never even looked up. They were sitting on the sofa and chatted with my mother, unable to tear themselves away. And finally, I tell her about the time Nanny took me to see the allergist, Dr. Kugelmass, when I was 14, and he said, right to my face, you're an attractive girl, but you'll never be as good looking as your mother. Oh. Jesus God. So I say, Terry, this is universal. This is mother-daughter stuff. If you had a daughter, she'd think you were incredible. She'd think she could never measure up to you. Well, we'll never know, will we? She responds. And I know I've hit a nerve. So I tell her I wrote something when she first told me about this Mother's Day event. I say, this is what I would say to you if I'm up on this. This is what I would say if I'm up on the stage with you. She tells me it's okay if I read this, but only because I really want to. Not exactly what she had in mind. She wants it to be conversational between us. I hear the word improv. I say, you better cue me. Have prepared lines and no surprises. I don't do improv. She hands me the transcription of the tapes she's made. It's the dialogue between us. It's all there, even my protests. I say, oh, this is good. It's amazing. Third rehearsal. It is 2 days before the show. We meet at the gym in the yoga room. Now I tell her that I've not been sleeping and that my GI problems have returned. The diarrhea is back. This time she hears me. Mom, if this is making you sick, you don't have to do it. You're off the hook. I say, too late. Let's just do it and get it over with. But you don't have to do it, she tells me again. By now I am resigned. I'm starting to find humor in all of this. Terry's script from the tapings is really good. I understand what she did with the interviews. I see what she meant by organic. The script came out of our interaction. Maybe we can make this work. She tells me she wants to sing on stage with me for a big finish after we both reveal our legs. I say, oh God. She wants wants to sing my favorite Cole Porter song, Anything Goes. I go home and download the lyrics and send them to her. Last rehearsal, we meet at the theater, stand together on the stage, and practice singing Anything Goes. It's a tricky lyric, and she can't seem to get the rhythm or melody right. She keeps going off key. Every time she loses it, I stop and stare at her. She laughs. We start again. She loses the melody. Terry knows that I sang a special song with my mother and asks if I want to sing that. I say, okay, but I might cry. Why, she asks. Since I was a little girl, Nanny and I always sang our song together. She taught me the melody, and she would harmonize just over my part. But hearing her sing different notes always threw me off, and I would join her harmony. When she was dying, I sat on the side of her bed, and we sang Till We Meet Again for the last time. She could still sing harmony, but I struggled to stay on the melody. Terry starts to laugh out loud. Oh, you too, she says. Then I read the piece I had written. I read it to her, and she's smiling. I begin. I used to wonder why Alcoholics Anonymous was more effective for treating alcoholism than psychotherapy. After going to an AA meeting, I figured it out. People get to stand up in front of the world and say, my name is John and I'm an alcoholic. And something happens, something changes. Today on Mother's Day, with my daughter present, I need to stand up in front of an audience and say, my name is Marian, and I was an imperfect mother, struggling to be perfect by producing a perfect child. I didn't believe I was good at anything. Why would I be good at mothering? Maybe if I could produce a perfect child, that would be good. But Terry, you were already perfect. You were born perfect. If you grew up thinking you could never please me, that you could never do anything right, and that there was something wrong with you, it was not you that was lacking, it was me. I carried a load of heavy rocks on my broken shoulders and gave them to you to carry, but your strength and your spirit were never broken. You carried them a long distance before you threw them away, a rock at a time, and stood up, tall and beautiful, just the way you are, perfect. Terry looks at me a moment and then says, I think it's going to work. I notice she has tears in her eyes.